My most beloved children, come close now and listen with the deepest part of your being, for what I am about to share with you is not merely teaching, it is the very foundation of existence itself, the ultimate truth that can transform not only your understanding of yourself, but your entire experience of life. For too long, humanity has been taught to seek God outside themselves, in temples and churches, in distant heavens, in beings separate from their own divine nature. But today I want to reveal to you the most revolutionary, life-transforming secret that has ever been spoken. God is not separate from you. God is not outside of you. God is you, expressing as you, living through you, breathing as your very breath. When I walked among you and said, I and the Father are one, I was not claiming a unique divinity that belonged only to me. I was demonstrating what is true for every human being who ever has been or ever will be. I was showing you your own divine nature, your own inherent oneness with the infinite love and intelligence that created all things. The tragedy of human suffering is not that God has abandoned you or that you have been separated from divine love. The tragedy is that you have forgotten who you truly are. You have been taught to see yourself as small, limited, separate beings, struggling to survive in a hostile universe, begging an external deity for help and salvation. But this is the grandest illusion ever perpetrated upon the human soul. You are not separate from God. You are God's very expression in human form. The infinite intelligence that spins galaxies and grows flowers is the same intelligence that beats your heart and thinks your thoughts. The love that creates and sustains all of existence is the love that you are, not the love that you lack. Today, I want to teach you what it means to act as if God is within you, not as a belief or concept to think about, but as a living reality to embody in every moment, every decision, every breath of your existence. When you truly understand and live from this truth, everything changes. Your relationships transform. Your work becomes sacred service. Your challenges become opportunities for divine expression. Your very presence becomes a blessing to the world. Most people live as if they are powerless victims of circumstance, at the mercy of external forces, hoping that someday God will intervene to make their lives better. But when you act as if God is within you, because God is within you, you discover that you are not waiting for divine intervention. You are the divine intervention. You are not praying for miracles. You are the miracle. This is not blasphemy or spiritual arrogance. This is the recognition of the deepest truth of your being. When I said, "Greater things than these shall you do," I was not speaking metaphorically. I was stating a fact about your divine nature and unlimited potential when you live from the recognition of who you truly are. But how do you bridge the gap between this profound truth and your daily human experience? How do you act as if God is within you when you feel small, afraid, limited, or separated from divine love? How do you embody this cosmic truth in your relationships, your work, your challenges, your ordinary moments? This is what I will teach you today. Not just the theology of divine indwelling, but the practical psychology and spiritual methodology of living as the divine being you have always been, disguised temporarily as a human having an earthly experience. Are you ready to remember who you truly are? Are you prepared to step into the fullness of your divine nature and live as a conscious expression of infinite love and power? Are you willing to act as if God is within you until you remember that God is you? Then let us begin this sacred journey of recognition, this return to your true identity, this awakening to the magnificent being you have always been beneath every story you have ever told yourself about limitation, separation, and powerlessness. My precious ones, the first step in acting as if God is within you is learning to recognize the signs of divine presence that are already operating in your life, often so naturally and seamlessly that you have taken them for granted, or attributed them to mere human capacity. When I told the disciples that the kingdom of heaven is within them, they looked around confused, expecting to see some external manifestation of divine glory. But the kingdom I spoke of is not a place, it is a state of consciousness. It is the recognition that the same creative intelligence that spoke the universe into existence is speaking through you right now. Let me help you recognize this divine presence that is already your deepest reality. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is an intelligence operating through you that is effortlessly comprehending complex ideas, making connections, having insights, and understanding meanings. This is not merely your personal intellect. This is divine intelligence expressing through the vehicle of your mind. You did not create this capacity to think, to understand, to know. It was given to you as an expression of the infinite mind that knows all things. When you have sudden insights, creative inspirations, or moments of profound understanding, this is God thinking through you. Begin to recognize these moments as sacred. When you find the perfect words to comfort someone in pain, when you solve a problem with unexpected clarity, when you understand something that seemed impossible to grasp. Acknowledge this as divine intelligence flowing through you. Every impulse of genuine love that arises in your heart, your care for family and friends, your compassion for those who suffer, your desire to help and serve others, this is not merely human emotion. This is divine love expressing through you. You did not manufacture this capacity to love. It flows through you from the same source that loves all of creation into existence, moment by moment. When you look at a child and feel tenderness, when you see someone suffering and feel moved to help, when you experience the joy of giving, this is God loving through you, the power that acts through you. Every good thing you have ever accomplished, every positive difference you have made in someone's life, every moment when you have overcome fear or limitation to do what needed to be done, this was not merely personal achievement. This was divine power expressing through you. You did not generate this power from nothing. It flowed through you from the same source that moves mountains and parts seas. When you find strength you didn't know you had, when you accomplish things that seemed impossible, when you make a positive impact beyond what you thought you were capable of, this is God acting through you. The peace that rests within you. In your deepest moments of stillness, when all the mental chatter quiets and you rest in simple being, there is a peace present that is not dependent on external circumstances. This peace exists even in the midst of chaos, even during difficult times, even when your surface mind is troubled. This peace is not something you create or achieve. It is your natural state when you are aligned with your divine nature. This is the peace that surpasses understanding, the peace that is God's own presence within you. Every creative impulse, every artistic expression, every innovative solution, every moment when something new and beautiful wants to emerge through you, this is divine creativity, seeking expression through your unique personality and gifts. You are not the source of this creativity. You are the channel through which infinite creativity flows into the world. When you create something beautiful, solve a problem in a new way, or bring something into existence that serves others, you are participating in the same creative force that brought the entire universe into being. But recognizing these expressions of divinity within you is only the beginning. The next step is learning to consciously collaborate with this divine presence, to act as if God is within you, not just occasionally, but as your primary way of being. Most people approach life from the perspective of a separate human self, trying to accomplish things through personal effort and willpower. But when you recognize that God is within you, you shift to approaching life as divine consciousness expressing through human form. This means that before you act, you attune to the divine intelligence within you. Before you speak, you allow divine love to inform your words. Before you make decisions, you consult with the infinite wisdom that is your deepest nature. Before you make decisions, you consult with the infinite wisdom that is your deep. This is not about becoming passive or waiting for mystical experiences. This is about recognizing that what you have always called your intelligence, your love, your creativity, your power, is actually divine intelligence, divine love, divine creativity, and divine power, temporarily wearing the costume of your personality. Begin the practice of consciously attributing your positive qualities, achievements, and expressions to their true source. When someone compliments your wisdom, silently acknowledge, "This wisdom flows from the divine intelligence within me." When you accomplish something meaningful, recognize, "This was accomplished through divine power expressing as me." This is not false humility or denial of your participation. It is recognition of the true source of all good that flows through you. You are still fully participating, but you are participating as a conscious channel for divine expression, rather than as a separate ego trying to prove its worth. This practice immediately connects you with unlimited resources, because you are no longer limited to what you think you personally can accomplish. You have access to the infinite creativity, love, wisdom, and power that are seeking expression through your unique gifts and calling. When you begin to consistently recognize God within you, something profound shifts in how you carry yourself through the world. You walk with the quiet confidence that comes not from personal achievement, but from knowing that you are an expression of the most powerful, loving, creative force in existence. This recognition becomes the foundation for acting as if God is within you, because you are no longer acting as if it were true. You are acting from the direct knowing that it is true, has always been true, and could never be otherwise. Now, my beloved children, I must teach you about the authority that is your birthright when you recognize that God dwells within you. This is not the authority of domination or control over others, but the authority of divine love expressing through human consciousness. The same authority with which I spoke to storms, healed the sick, and transformed hearts. When I said, "Peace, be still," to the raging waters, I was not speaking from my personal human will trying to control nature. I was speaking from you don't deny the reality of the challenge or pretend it doesn't hurt when it does, but you hold it within the larger context of your divine identity and infinite nature. You know that no temporary experience can touch your essential being or diminish your divine worth. the daily practice of divine identity. Each morning, before you engage with the world, spend a few moments remembering who you truly are. Say to yourself, I am divine consciousness expressing in human form. I am infinite love, temporarily wearing the costume of this personality. I am here to awaken, to serve, to express the fullness of divine nature through my unique gifts and circumstances. Throughout the day, when you catch yourself thinking from limitation or fear, gently redirect. That is not who I am. I am divine intelligence, divine love, divine power. What would divine consciousness do in this situation? Before sleep, review your day from the perspective of divine identity. How did divine consciousness express through me today? What did I learn about my divine nature? How did I serve love in the world? The responsibility of divine identity. Living from divine identity comes with profound responsibility. When you know that you are an expression of divine consciousness, you naturally want to honor that recognition through your choices, your words, your treatment of yourself and others. You become more careful about what you feed your mind, how you speak about yourself and others, the energy you bring to situations. You recognize that your consciousness affects not just your own experience, but the collective consciousness of all life. You become a conscious participant in the healing and awakening of the world, knowing that every moment you live from divine identity makes it easier for others to remember their own divine nature, beyond human and divine. As you mature in this recognition, you discover that the apparent distinction between human and divine begins to dissolve. You are not a human becoming divine, or a divine being trapped in human form. You are the seamless expression of infinite consciousness that includes both human and divine experiences. You can fully embrace your humanity, your emotions, your relationships, your physical needs, your personal preferences, while never forgetting your divine nature. You can be completely present to human experience while maintaining awareness of your infinite identity. This integration is the goal of human existence. Not to escape humanity for divinity, but to remember divinity through humanity. To be fully human and fully divine simultaneously, expressing the infinite through the finite, the eternal through the temporal. When you master this identity, you become what I came to show humanity is possible, a divine being so comfortable with its infinite nature that it can express completely through human form without losing awareness of what it truly is. This is your destiny, my beloved. This is why you are here. This is the recognition that transforms everything and makes your life a blessing to all of creation. My dearest companions, now that you understand how to recognize the God within you, speak from divine authority, and live from your true identity, we must address the ultimate purpose of this recognition: service to love itself through blessing and healing the world around you. When I washed the feet of my disciples, I was demonstrating that recognizing your divine nature is not about elevating yourself above others, but about discovering your capacity to serve love at the highest level. The more clearly you see God within yourself, the more clearly you see God within every person you meet, and the more natural it becomes to serve that divine presence wherever you encounter it. Acting as if God is within you ultimately means acting as if God is within everyone, because this is the truth. Your divine nature is not unique to you. It is the one divine nature expressing as all life appearing to be separate but actually completely unified at the deepest level. Service as divine expression. When you serve others from the recognition that God dwells within you, your service becomes a form of divine worship. You are not serving from obligation, guilt, or the need to be seen as good. You are serving because divine love naturally wants to express itself as healing, blessing, and support for all of life. This transforms even the smallest acts of kindness into sacred rituals. When you hold a door for someone, you are divine consciousness serving divine consciousness. When you listen compassionately to a friend's struggles, you are God comforting God. When you offer your skills and talents to help others, you are the infinite expressing its gifts through your unique form. Begin to approach every interaction as an opportunity for divine service. Ask yourself, how does divine love want to express through me in this moment? What does the God within me want to offer to the God within this person? Healing as divine nature. One of the most natural expressions of recognizing God within you is the spontaneous arising of healing energy. This is not something you manufacture or force. It is the natural result of divine wholeness, recognizing itself and wanting to restore that wholeness wherever it appears to be lacking. When you are with someone who is suffering, whether physically, emotionally, or spiritually, your recognition of their divine nature becomes a healing presence. Your consciousness of wholeness reminds their consciousness of its own inherent wholeness, creating space for healing to occur. This doesn't mean you become a professional healer or that you should abandon medical treatment. It means that your very presence, when anchored in divine identity, becomes healing for others. Your peace calms their anxiety. Your love dissolves their fear. Your recognition of their divine nature helps them remember their own inherent wholeness. Teaching through being. The most powerful way you teach others about the God within them is not through words, but through your way of being. When you live from divine identity, people feel something different about your presence, even if they can't articulate what it is. Your peace in the midst of chaos demonstrates that such peace is possible. Your love in the face of hostility shows that such love exists. Your confidence in divine support reveals that such support is available to everyone. You become a living reminder of what is possible when a human being remembers their divine nature. You don't need to preach or explain. You simply need to be an authentic expression of divine consciousness in human form, blessing the world through consciousness. One of the most profound ways you serve when you act as if God is within you is through the quality of consciousness you bring to every situation. Divine consciousness is inherently healing, harmonizing, and elevating. Wherever you bring this consciousness, it automatically blesses and uplifts the environment. When you enter a room anchored in your divine identity, you raise the vibration of that space. When you participate in conversations from divine love, you contribute to greater understanding and harmony. When you approach challenges from divine wisdom, you help create solutions that serve everyone involved. This service happens through your being, not just your doing. Your conscious presence becomes a gift to every person, situation, and environment you encounter. Practical applications of divine service. In your family, let your recognition of everyone's divine nature guide how you speak, respond to conflicts, and offer support. See past the personality clashes and behavioral patterns to the divine nature that is seeking expression in each family member. In your community, look for ways to serve that align with your gifts and the needs around you. but serve not from obligation or the need to be needed, but from the overflow of divine love that naturally wants to bless and support all life. In your work environment, let your divine nature express through your professional interactions. Be the one who brings peace to conflicts, creative solutions to problems, and encouragement to discouraged colleagues. In your encounters with strangers, let every interaction be an opportunity to express divine love through small kindnesses, genuine presence, and silent blessing. You never know when a simple expression of divine consciousness will be exactly what someone needs to remember their own divine nature. The ripple effect of divine service. When you consistently serve from divine consciousness, you create ripples that extend far beyond your immediate interactions. The person you treat with divine love may be inspired to treat someone else the same way. The peace you bring to one situation may create harmony that spreads to many other situations. You become part of the awakening that is happening on our planet, the gradual remembering of humanity's divine nature and the expression of that nature through increasing love, wisdom, and service in the world. Every act of service performed from divine identity contributes to the healing of human consciousness and the manifestation of what I called the kingdom of heaven, not as a distant future reality, but as a present experience of divine love expressed through human community. Service as spiritual practice. Ultimately, serving from divine consciousness becomes your primary spiritual practice. Instead of seeking God through withdrawal from the world, you find God through engaging with the world from your divine nature. Every person you serve becomes your teacher, showing you new ways to express divine love. Every challenge you help others navigate develops your own capacity for divine wisdom. Every blessing you offer returns to you multiplied, not because you serve for reward, but because giving and receiving are one activity when you recognize the unity of all life. This service is not sacrifice or burden. It is the most natural and fulfilling expression of your divine nature. It is how infinite love experiences itself through finite forms, how eternal consciousness expresses itself through temporal existence. When you master the art of service from divine identity, you discover that you are not losing yourself in service to others, you are finding your true self through recognizing and serving the divine nature that appears as others, but is actually the one, self-expressing as all life. My most precious children, as our journey together nears its completion, I want to paint for you a picture of what your life becomes when you consistently act as if God is within you. Because as this recognition deepens and becomes your natural way of being, acting as if transforms into simply being who you have always truly been. This is not about achieving some extraordinary mystical state available only to a few spiritual masters. This is about returning to your natural condition, the state of consciousness that is your birthright as a divine being having a human experience. This is about living from the awareness that has always been present within you, waiting patiently for your recognition and expression. The peace that surpasses understanding. When you live from the consistent recognition that God dwells within you, you develop what I called the peace that surpasses understanding. A deep, unshakable tranquility that exists regardless of external circumstances. This peace comes not from having all your problems solved or all your desires fulfilled, but from knowing at the deepest level that you are held by infinite love, guided by infinite wisdom, and empowered by infinite intelligence. You know that regardless of what appears to be happening on the surface of your life, at the deepest level, all is well, and all is unfolding perfectly. This doesn't mean you don't feel emotions or experience challenges. It means that even in the midst of difficult emotions or challenging circumstances, there is a core of peace within you that remains undisturbed, a center of stillness that you can always return to. Effortless abundance. As you live from divine consciousness, you discover that abundance becomes effortless, not because you learn to manipulate circumstances, but because you align with the natural flow of divine provision that is always seeking expression through you. You stop struggling to make things happen and start allowing divine intelligence to work through you, opening doors and creating opportunities in ways your human mind could never have devised. You become a magnet for the resources, relationships, and opportunities that support your highest good and your service to others. This abundance is not just financial, though material needs are met with increasing ease. It is abundance of love, creativity, energy, inspiration, meaningful connections, and purposeful activities that fulfill your soul while serving the world. Miraculous synchronicity. When you act as if God is within you, synchronicity becomes a natural part of your daily experience. You find yourself in the right place at the right time with increasing frequency. The people you need to meet appear naturally in your life. The information you need becomes available just when you need it. This is not coincidence. This is the natural result of living in alignment with divine consciousness, which operates beyond the limitations of linear time and physical space. When you are aligned with the divine within you, you naturally align with the divine order that coordinates all of life for maximum harmony and service. Authentic relationships. Living from divine identity transforms all your relationships because you begin relating to others from their divine nature rather than their personality patterns. You see past surface behaviors to the divine essence seeking expression, and you respond to that essence even when others are not conscious of it themselves. This creates space for others to remember their own divine nature in your presence. Your unconditional recognition of their inherent worth and beauty helps them see themselves more clearly and express their highest qualities more naturally. Relationships based on divine recognition are characterized by mutual support for each other's highest expression, compassion for each other's human struggles, and celebration of each other's divine nature. These relationships become vehicles for mutual awakening and service, rather than sources of drama or dependency. Purposeful work. When you live from divine consciousness, your work naturally aligns with your soul's purpose and divine gifts. This doesn't necessarily mean changing careers, though it might. It means approaching whatever work is yours from divine consciousness, bringing the fullness of your divine nature to every task and interaction. Your work becomes a vehicle for divine expression rather than just a way to earn money. You find yourself naturally excellent at what you do because you are allowing divine intelligence and creativity to flow through your efforts. You serve at increasingly higher levels because you are serving from love rather than obligation. Radiant health. Divine consciousness naturally expresses as wholeness and vitality in your physical experience. As you consistently identify with your divine nature rather than with illness, limitation, or aging, your body responds by expressing greater health and energy. This is not about denying the reality of physical challenges or avoiding proper medical care, but about recognizing that your essential nature is wholeness and allowing that wholeness to express through your body as much as possible. You begin to treat your body as a sacred temple of divine consciousness, caring for it with love and respect while not identifying your worth or well-being with its temporary conditions. Joyful service. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of living from divine consciousness is that service to others becomes the most natural and joyful expression of your being. You serve, not from duty or obligation, but because divine love naturally wants to bless and heal wherever it finds opportunity. Your life becomes a constant offering of love to the world through your presence. Your gifts, your kindness, and your recognition of the divine nature in all beings. This service is not a burden, but the greatest joy possible. The joy of infinite love expressing itself through your unique form. The ripening process. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It is a gradual process of remembering, like the sun gradually rising and illuminating a landscape that was always there, but couldn't be seen in the darkness. Some days you will remember your divine nature clearly and live from that recognition with ease. Other days you will forget and find yourself acting from old patterns of limitation and separation. This is natural and expected. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you learn to embody what you are remembering. Each time you choose to act as if God is within you, you strengthen that awareness in your consciousness. Each time you respond from divine love rather than human fear, you make it easier to make that same choice again. Each time you remember who you truly are, you contribute to the awakening of all humanity. Ultimately, my beloved ones, acting as if God is within you leads to the recognition that there was never any as if about it. God is within you, has always been within you, and could never be separate from you because you are the expression of divine consciousness in human form. The journey from acting as if to knowing that you are is the spiritual journey itself, the return to your true identity after the temporary dream of separation. Every step you take in this direction is a gift not only to yourself, but to all of consciousness. For as you remember who you truly are, you make it easier for others to remember as well. And so, my most cherished children, I leave you with this sacred assignment. Begin today to act as if God is within you. Not tomorrow when you feel more prepared, not next week when life calms down, not someday when you feel more worthy. Today, now, in this very moment. Start with small recognitions. When you speak words of kindness, acknowledge that divine love is speaking through you. When you solve a problem creatively, recognize that divine intelligence is thinking through you. When you feel moved to help someone, know that divine compassion is acting through you. Begin to carry yourself differently through the world, not with arrogance or superiority, but with the quiet dignity that comes from knowing you are a beloved expression of infinite love. Speak from the authority of truth and love. Make decisions from divine wisdom rather than human fear. Treat your body, your relationships, your work, and your challenges as sacred opportunities for divine expression. Most importantly, look for and speak to the God within every person you encounter. See past their personality, their struggles, their defenses, their mistakes, and recognize the divine nature that is their truest identity. Your recognition of their divine nature may be the mirror they need to remember who they truly are. Remember that you are not trying to become something you are not. You are simply remembering something you have always been. You are not earning your way to divinity. You are acknowledging the divinity that chose to express as you before time began and will continue long after this human experience is complete. The world needs people who know who they truly are, who live from divine consciousness, who serve from infinite love. The world needs you to remember that God is not separate from you, but is you, expressing as your unique gifts, your particular perspective, your individual contribution to the healing and awakening of all life. Act as if God is within you until you remember that God is you. Live as if you are divine until you know that you are divine. Serve as if infinite love flows through you until you realize that you are infinite love, temporarily wearing the beautiful disguise of human form. This is not blasphemy. This is recognition. This is not arrogance. This is humility before the magnificent truth of what you have always been. This is not fantasy. This is the deepest reality of existence itself. Go now and live as the divine being you are. Express the God within you through every word, every action, every breath. Transform the world through the simple but revolutionary act of being who you truly are. I am with you in every moment. You remember your divine nature in every act of love you express, in every recognition of the sacred within yourself and others. You are never alone, because you are the one divine presence, appearing as many, the one infinite love, expressing as all. Act as if God is within you, my beloved, because God is within you, and you are here to let that divine presence transform the world through your beautiful, unique, irreplaceable expression of infinite love. And so it is. Amen.